All right, so for the review game today, we're going to go over 9.1 through 9.3. My goal is to help you feel more prepared for the test tomorrow. First problem, go ahead and find the perimeter of the composite figure. Okay, as I look at this, there is one unknown side, okay? We don't know how long that is. Can you identify how long that is? Why do you think it's 6 inches? Okay, because the other side over here is also 6 inches, so that is correct. Now, in order to find the perimeter, remember we are adding up all the sides around the outside of the figure. So we're going to add a 6, 5, 3, 6, and 4. When you do that, what is the answer? Okay, be careful. Quite a few people yesterday just said 24. Don't forget to put the units. Should I square my units?
No.
Why not? We're not finding the area. You only square the units whenever you're finding the area. For this one, we're finding the area of the composite figure. The first thing you have to do is identify the shapes. Okay, so what shapes do we have here? Okay, a rectangle and a triangle. Now, how many of you would say that you see 2 triangles there? Okay, there's 2 ways that you can do this. You can put it in as finding 2 triangles, or you could do it as one big triangle. That's totally up to you. How many of you did it as 2 triangles? How many of you did it as 1 triangle? Okay, you can get the same answer either way. All right, so let's just talk through this. I'm going to show you the way to do it with 2 triangles, and then I'll show you how it could work with 1. What's the area of a rectangle formula? Length times width. How about the area of a triangle? Okay, I've got 2 triangles, so I'm going to put the 2 there, but if not, it's 1/2 times base times height. Let's focus on the length times the width. What's my length and my width? 8 and 10, 10 and 8. Either way, the order does not matter. Okay, but there's 1 that's 10, 1 that's 8. Plus, remember I've got 2 triangles times half, and this is where people struggled a lot on the quiz yesterday. Let's focus on this. I'm just showing you one of those triangles right there. Okay, so I highlighted it in yellow, and I'm going to redraw it down here so we can see it a little bit bigger. What is this tiny box right there for?
That's the angle.
That's the angle. That's my right angle. Remember, at the bottom of that right angle is going to be your base. Okay, so this over here is going to be the base. Then notice the height is always going up from that 90-degree angle. This is where a lot of people made mistakes, even on this problem that I was just watching right here. All right, so let's focus on the height. How tall is my height? 3. Okay, you can see it right here. Notice it's also up here. That's where the 3 is at. Next thing we need to figure out is the base. So focusing on this right here is 8 feet. So what would this other area over here have to be? All the way across. What it would be all the way across? That would also be 8. So the tiny half on the top would be 4. The tiny half on the bottom would be also 4. Because you're just adding 4 plus 4 equals 8. Does that make sense where we're getting that? And remember, that is going to be what the base would be. So now I'm going to plug it into my formula, multiply it times 4, and times the height, which was 3. All right, so now the area of the rectangle is what? 80, because 10 times 8 is 80, plus 2 triangles. Now let's focus on this, just the first part. What is half of 4? 2, and then what is 2 times 3? 6, all right? So we're multiplying it by 6. Then I bring everything else down. 80 for the rectangle plus, what's 2 times 6? 12. What is 80 plus 12? 92 what? Feet squared. Now, a few of you said that you did this as one big triangle. And if you did that, that would be totally fine because you would be finding half times the base times the height. You're finding half of the base, which was 8, and the height, which was 3. And half of 24 is 12, which is still what we had over there. So if you chose to do it as one big triangle, that's also fine, or you could do it as 2 little triangles. All right, here's one thing that a lot of people I did see. They tried to say that this area over here was the height. That is called the hypotenuse, okay? So remember, the height is always going to be whatever comes off of this little 90-degree angle right there. So your base will always be at the bottom of the 90-degree angle, and the height will always be right on the side of the 90-degree angle. And then for right now, we are not using this diagonal part right here for anything. All right, for question number 3, I just want you to find the radius. All right, does it give me the diameter or the radius? The diameter, it gave me the long. Remember this long part all the way across, that's the diameter, but I want the radius. This is what I saw. A lot of you told me the answer was this, and then you boxed it in. What's wrong with that? There's no units. You have to make sure you've got your units, so it would be 15 meters. Okay, guys, did I give you the radius or the diameter?
The radius.
I gave you the radius, so you need to find the diameter. How do you find diameter?
The radius.
You multiply it by 2, or you double it. So the correct answer would be 28 feet. For problem number 5, it asks you to find the circumference of the circle and to use 3.14 for pi. Guys, does the problem give us the diameter or the radius? It tells us the diameter is 18. A lot of people, I think this would have helped you if you had done this on your quiz, written down the diameter is 18, which means the radius is 9. Okay, so at this point, we know the diameter and the radius. You could use either of the circumference formulas. Which formula would you guys like to use?
Pi times d.
Okay, we'll do pi times d. What does it say to use for pi?
3.14.
And what's my diameter?
18.
When you multiply those together, what do you get?
56.52.
Okay, the hardest part is knowing what formula to use. Some people told me to square the units. Should I square the units?
No.
No, why not?
You're not finding the area.
I'm only finding the circumference. That's the distance around the outside of the circle, not the area in the middle. Okay, for this problem, it asked us to find the perimeter of the semicircle. Remind me, what does perimeter mean?
The outside.
The distance around the outside of a shape. All right, we know the bottom part. Does it tell us what the diameter is or the radius? It does tell us that the diameter is 24, which means the radius is 12. Okay, now here's what's a mystery to us. This part that's up here, what is the outside of a circle called? That's the circumference. So we are trying to find the circumference when it gives us the diameter. What would that formula be? Pi times d, okay? A lot of people on their quiz tried to tell me a equals pi r squared. That's for the area. This asks us for the perimeter, so it's a different formula, okay? If you got that wrong, I want you to erase it on your board and do it correctly with me. Now, do I keep it as pi times d? No, I have to divide it by
2.
because it's a
Semicircle.
half of a circle or a semicircle. Very good job. All right, what's pi?
3.14.
Multiply it times the diameter, which is 24, and divide that by
2.
Listen, a lot of people on their quiz, they had written up here to divide by 2, but then they completely forgot to do it from that point on. Please don't forget. Look to see what it is that you wrote and then figure that out, okay? Can I reduce anything?
24.
Very good. What do the 2 and 24 become?
1 and 12.
A 1 and a 12. Now I'd like you to multiply 3.14 times 12. 37.68. Now this is not my final answer. Do you know what this told me? This question mark we were trying to find up there, the circumference of the semicircle. In order to find the entire distance around, what do I have to do? All right, in order to do this, we find the circumference plus the diameter. We know that the circumference was 37.68. What is the diameter? Okay, remember, that's just this part down here at the bottom. We're also adding that, plus 12. What's the answer?
61.68 inches.
Inches. And should I square my units? No, why not?
We're finding the
Because I'm finding the perimeter, not the area. All right, just kidding. We were not supposed to add 12 there. What were we supposed to add there? 24.
Did he still get it wrong?
Okay, we still got the right answer. We just hadn't put the right thing in there. Okay, but it is 61.68. All right, for question number 7, you are finding the area of the circle. Guys, does this give me the radius or the diameter? This is the radius, so what would the diameter be? 14. What's the formula for area of a circle? Now listen, quite a few people did this. Should I divide it by 2? When do I divide it by 2?
When you find the area of semicircle.
Only when it's a semicircle. So we've got pi times r squared. This is also what I saw a lot of people do on their quiz. What's wrong with this?
It's 7 times, so it's not 7 times.
They chose to do 7 times 2, but 7 squared means 7 times itself. So times 49, what do you get?
153.86 feet squared.
Feet squared. Why am I squaring the units? Because you are finding the area. All right, this right here is a review problem. You will have review problems like this on the test tomorrow. I'm wondering what the measure of center is for data A and data B. What does measure of center mean? The center. What is the center of that one right there? 60. And then what is the center? 90. Everybody got it correct? All right, for the next problem, we still have the same data sets, but this time I want you to write down what the measures of variation would be. Remember, variation takes the top part of the box and subtracts the smaller part of the box. So for the first one, we have 80 minus 30. What is that? 50. Okay, that would be for data A. For the next one, we have 100 minus 80. What would that be? And that variation would be 20. Okay, so this came from a long time ago. We used to use a formula called P times of equals is. This is what I saw a lot of people do. They took the percent, 25%, turned it to a decimal, multiplied it by the original price. When they did that, they got $8.75. Now, here's my question, because a lot of people left it at that. Does it make sense? Let's say that I had something that's $35. If I were to cut that in half, what would that be cut in half? Think about $34 or $36. It'd be about $18, right? So if it were 50%, it'd be $18. This is only 25% off, and a lot of you have told me that the answer is $8.75. Does that answer make sense? That doesn't make sense. Instead, guys, what that's showing me is that's the discount. That's how much they take off the original price. So what should I do with that $8.75?
Add your original prices.
Not add it. It's a discount. Subtract it. It was $35 minus $8.75. Then you would get the final selling price, $26.25. How many of you would say you did it a different way? All right, there was a different way that I taught you. Normally, typically, something is 100% of the cost, but you're getting 25% off. So what price or what percentage do you pay?
75.
You pay 75%. Change that to a decimal, what do you get? 0.75, multiply that times the original price, and you get $26.25. Notice those two are the same answers. I do not care how you solve it. All right, for this problem, it's another review type problem that you will find on your test. It's asking us to find the rate. Guys, what's the formula I need to find the rate? I equals PRT. What's my interest? $24. What's my principal? $500. What's my rate? We don't know it, so we're going to keep it as an R. What's my time? 2 years. Remember, the time has to be in years, okay? Can I do anything on the left side? No, I'm just going to drop down the 24. Can I do anything on the right side? Yes. What's 500 times 2? 1,000. Here's where a lot of people messed up. They forgot to drop down the R. Listen, that's how you know what you're solving for. You're always trying to get the R or the variable by itself. How do I get R by itself? Divide by 1,000. Okay, so I get 0.024, and that's going to be my R. Some people kept it as that. What does rate have to be? A percentage. So change that decimal to a percent, and what do you get?
2.4%.
2.4% is your rate. All right, think about the final problem for today is to find the area of a semicircle. Okay, before we get started, does it give me the diameter or the radius? The diameter is 24 inches, which means the radius would be 12 inches. What's the formula for area of a semicircle?
A equals pi times r squared divided by 2.
Good job. Don't forget to divide it by 2 because it is a semicircle. If you didn't get that, erase it and fix it. What's pi?
3.1.
What's my radius? 12. A lot of times on the quiz, I saw people who were trying to cancel those out. Can you cancel those out? No. Then I saw people who were trying to cancel these out. Can you cancel those out? No. The first thing you have to do is your square or your exponents, okay? What is 12 squared? 144. Now am I allowed to divide that by 2? Yes. What is 144 divided by 2? 72. So you could cancel this out to being 1 and 72. When you work that out, what do you get?
226.08 inches squared.
Inches squared. All right. So that is how you find the area of a semicircle. Guys, all of these questions that we went over today are going to help you for your test tomorrow.